Hi everyone, welcome back to my page. I wanted to create a video today to discuss the different types of questions that you might see on the ANCC-NP exam. Personally, I took the AGPCNP, wow, that's a lot of letters, and I would say that from what I have been told, family and adult both have a lot of non-clinical questions, which we'll discuss at a later time. But I wanted to go over this different format of questions so that way you know what to expect. I had to sit down. Okay, so the first format that you need to know, and it's just like this in every exam you're ever going to take, but you need to know that there are some multiple choice questions. What's nice about this exam is that it has a strike-through function. So when you are sitting down to take your exam, or you're able to actually look up how to do this on the website, you will see that you can strike through any extraneous information in the question. So a lot of the questions are like the NCLEX in that they have multiple facts. And you are able to strike through, I don't need to know that, I really don't need to know that, I really don't need to know that. So you can just get down to the bare bones. And then as well, you can strike through any of the answers, so you can do process of elimination. The strategy that I had when I was going through the multiple choice questions was I would look at the question and I would try to find the root of the question. So at the very end of the question is usually what we call the root or the core message of the question. So just make sure that you're reading that first and then read the question again. Another thing that I would do during the exam is I would read the question, read all the answers, read the question again, and look for the stem of the question. And sometimes they'll try to trick you by saying not or except or words like that, because you're going to think, oh, well, what's the right answer? But they're going to say all but or something like that. So you can just underline those portions of the question and then you can pick the correct answer. If at any time you do not know the answer to the question, do not answer it. That was my thing that I really found helpful, is that you can flag a question without answering it. So that way, at the end of the exam, you can go back to all the questions you flagged and then you can answer it. But if you change the answer statistically, you're going to get it wrong. Questions that you're going to get are select all that apply. But what I really liked about the select all that apply, not like I like them really, but is that you can look at the question and it'll say select the 3 that apply, or select the 2 that apply, or select the 5 that apply. So you're going to want to highlight the number. I know it sounds silly, but when you're stressed out, you're going to need to just break it down. So highlight the number and then pick each one that is appropriate. And then as well, make sure that you understand if it's saying except or included or anything like that. Just make sure you're reading the question. I love it that when you were growing up and you were learning about the game match, that you were going to have to use it on your ANCC exam. So there are a few matching questions, but they're pretty simple. So they can be the non-clinical or the clinical questions. So for instance, on an exam, you might see a question saying 3 very similar diseases. So MS, Parkinson's, and a stroke, something like that. You will have to submit you'll have to match up the most common presentation for all of those diseases, and you have to match them to the disease. So that's something to be cognizant of. So if it helps during your studying, something that would be beneficial is to kind of create little flashcards of diseases that you're not very familiar with. For me, if you give me any cancer question, I'm golden. But for any neuro thing, not my thing. So I made little flashcards for all of the neuro diseases, so that way and presentations and things like that, which in my previous video I told you to highlight the leak book with presentations. So that will be really helpful for those exams. Of the matching questions that you're going to have to understand is ordering things. So not necessarily ordering interventions, but something that my friend Joanne talks about, which I will link her page down below, is that you will see like ordering the hierarchy of research. So like a meta-analysis is at the top, an editorial, and maybe like at the very bottom, someone who, like an expert opinion. Sorry, it's been a while since I took this exam, but if you order those, then it's easy points. Those are like the main kinds of questions. The next kinds of things that I'm going to share are just miscellaneous things that just came to mind. Okay, so as far as drugs, you are going to get the generic and you are going to get the trade name. Praise the Lord. But you do need to know drug classes, and you're going to need to know drug names. So I would suggest that if you don't already know them from your nursing practice, that you familiarize yourselves with some of the basic medications. They're not going to give you super crazy like immunotherapies or chemotherapy medications. You will need to know about methotrexate for rheumatoid arthritis, as well as you will need to know lab values. So, but the questions that they're going to ask you are going to be so obvious. So for instance, when you're getting a lab value, you're going to see like patient present with, and this is not a real question, but it'll be like this obvious. Patient presents with fatigue, hair loss, her TSH is 10. What is it? You know what I mean? And so it's going to be very obvious that she has hypothyroidism. I also forgot to mention, so sorry, there are going to be pictures on your exam. So you're going to have to look at these pixelated pictures and select the picture or select the region of the picture which applies to the question. So for instance, one of the questions could be like a picture of a hand with rheumatoid arthritis, and you'd say, which one of these has rheumatoid arthritis? You pick that one. Or which of these skin conditions requires an antibiotic? Click. Or where on this chest x-ray do you see the pneumonia? Click. So they're very good pictures and they're very simple. So just be cognizant of that. Another thing that I would say is there was a lot of non-clinical questions. So Medicare, primary, tertiary, and secondary prevention. So just be aware of those kinds of things. The back of the leak book had plenty of information. I also created some flashcards that you can look up on Quizlet for the non-clinical stuff. There's no way around it, but it will help in your practice because you're going to be able to talk about Medicare or insurance questions or those kinds of things, or billing. So just be aware that those are not going to just be in your book. They're going to be on the exam. I'm sure I left something out, so I'm sure a part 2 is coming soon. But if you have any questions, or if you have anything that you think I should add to my next video, please leave a comment below or respond to my message on Facebook, and I'd be happy to get back to you. Thank you so much for watching. Good luck!